Welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm your host, Tristen Stawicki. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. Join in with other high vibe, lovely people as I unravel spiritual ideas to help create change and growth in your life. I cover a variety of spiritual topics, sharing knowledge to meet you wherever you are in your journey. As a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader, I help you understand how to make informed decisions and incorporate different modalities using discernment in your own intuition. Today, you will gain powerful shamanic healing tools you can use to incorporate spiritual practices in non-traditional ways. Whether you're just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Stay tuned. Musings and Modalities starts now. Everyone, and welcome to Musings and Modalities. I'm Tristen Stawicki, and for the next 30 minutes, we're diving into the fascinating world of rising signs. We'll start by defining what a rising sign is and why it holds so much significance in your astrological profile. Understanding your rising sign can offer profound insights into your personality, how you present yourself to the world, and the overarching themes of your life's journey. It's the initial impression you give off, it's your outward style, and it's how you navigate social interactions. The rising sign is really the doorway to your birth chart, and it sets the stage for the experiences and lessons that you'll encounter in this lifetime, right? There's a lot that's happening in just one sign in your birth chart. As we travel through each of the 12 astrological signs, you'll really gain that personalized understanding of how your rising sign influences your life. I'll also share the unique characteristics and tendencies associated with each sign, and I'll shed some light on the strengths, challenges, and hidden potentials within them. Through my own personal journey of healing and connecting with my rising sign, I've experienced tremendous growth and transformation. Embracing my rising sign has really unlocked new levels of self-awareness and empowered me to step into my authentic power. It's my belief that understanding your rising sign is a key component of unlocking your birth chart's full potential and living a more fulfilling life. So to begin, what's a rising sign, right? Why is this something we're talking about today? So a rising sign is also known as the ascendant, and the ascendant is really the starting point of the first house in your birth chart. And this is the zodiac sign rising on the eastern horizon at the time of birth. And this sign marks the beginning of the first house, which is it really describes the way you dress, the way you move, the way you adorn yourself, and the overall condition of your body. It really relates to that first impression you make on people. And the first impression you make on others really describes your style, the overall choices you make, in a few different ways. And I don't want to oversell the impact of this, but this sign really does set the tone for your birth chart. When I'm most authentic to myself, that's when I've connected with my rising sign. And given its impact, this is why knowing your exact birth time is incredibly important when receiving an accurate birth chart reading. Now, there is some discourse that your rising sign is the mask you wear, which doesn't really resonate with me. And this could possibly be because there's a lot of focus in my own shamanic training to release labels and to release the need for mask overall. And the idea of the rising sign as a mask perpetuate this kind of claim that we need to shed or release it in some way. And that's not been my personal experience working with a rising sign. And in fact, it's really when I began embracing the elements of my own rising sign that I felt most aligned and comfortable within myself. The concept that your rising sign functions as a mask you wear is a prevalent one, but I don't think that it really is true in our own personal experience of astrology overall. And it really doesn't align with the idea that we need to discard or outgrow of a part of ourself that's so key to our journey in this lifetime. When you think about working with your rising sign and you really think about connecting with it, I wanted to give you a few different ways to look at it. So you can first and foremost work with the strengths of the sign and learn its history. The goal here is to really reflect on where you may have repressed the strengths of the sign, and really work to shine up kind of the gifts and let them overexpress for a while. I want you to almost do too much with them and slowly start to tailor it back to a place that feels more natural to you. An example of this could be as a Leo rising, really hog that spotlight, grab the attention of the room and keep it. See the influence you wield with ease, and really see the edges of the gift and where it moves into shadow. And by move into shadow, I mean where it feels a little manipulative, while things feel out of alignment for you, where you feel a little icky. You're like, ooh, that's a lot of power for someone to hold. I want you to like be right on that line and then pull it back into that alignment where you feel comfortable. Because I really want you to have a new baseline of whatever your rising sign is, whatever your gifts are, that perhaps expands your natural aura by about 15 to 20%. Just enough so you feel the difference. You can play with that percentage, but it's not so much that you feel fake, that you're putting on a persona. And I really want you to experiment where these gifts help in your day-to-day life and in your job. You know, these are gifts that you may want to call on when you're public speaking or when you need to help mediate an argument. You know, there are elements of your rising sign that are incredibly helpful in a variety of situations. And I really want you to learn what that is and then call on them. It's yet another tool for you to have. You can also acknowledge the unhealed parts of you that come up through working with this sign. So you can think about what needs to be repatterned in your own experience. Where have you been told you're too much or too little? And you can really find the early memories or unkind words that have been buried deep within your soul that are really limiting your full expression of yourself. And for the third kind of tip with working with your rising sign is I want you to reflect on those secret desires and wishes you have. So for instance, for a Leo rising, it might be being on stage through a medium you're not normally on. So if you're really great at dancing, maybe you want to move into singing or express your gift in a different way that maybe you're not as naturally inclined to, but is still showing up and is being in the spotlight. And so I really want you to focus on those secret dreams and desires you have and where your rising sign kind of aligns with that, where your rising sign can help you with that, or maybe is pushing you out of your comfort zone. And I love this because what I want you to feel is really the boundaries of your rising sign currently, and maybe where you want to express them more fully for your own fulfillment and happiness, which is the entire goal of this overall. Now, in thinking about the importance of a rising sign, I did want to talk briefly about relationships and to also talk about a future podcast I'll cover. So, when thinking about relationships, many people focus on a sun sign, especially if they're new to astrology. They'll kind of search who maybe they have a crush on someone or they're, infatuated with someone and they'll be like, okay, I know when their birthday is, I know when their sun sign is, let me see if we're compatible. I just wanted to mention, I would really look at other aspects of astrology, and I know I haven't talked about this very much yet, but I'm excited to in the future. I'd really look at a rising sign or a moon sign before ever using a sun sign to determine compatibility. And really, I actually prefer to use Mercury and Venus to have even a more kind of profound influence on compatibility. But if you're focusing on using that big three framework, the sun, moon, and rising, really focus on the rising and then the moon, because you'll just have a more accurate kind of expression of what their tendencies are and who they are. Um, and maybe perhaps what the overall kind of flavor experience in that relationship. So that's a podcast I'm currently kind of working on and researching that I'll be doing in the next few, say the next few weeks after probably after we get through rising signs. Now, because I wanted to be very thorough in breaking down all of the signs, I'm not going to be able to get through all 12 today. My goal is to get through about 6 of them. We'll see where I end up. As you know, sometimes I can ramble a little bit when I get really excited and inspired. But to kick us off, I wanted to talk through the sign of Aries. And Aries, of course, kicks off the zodiac. There are innovators, they are ruled by Mars, and there is a level of impulsivity and hot and bright energy in this rising sign. And as the leader, really the first into battle, there is this energy of wanting to touch the stove to see if it's hot. Even if the little light's on and it says this is warm, you need to feel the warmth for yourself. You just want to make sure. This is also the energy of when a party is a little bit dull, you're first to suggest a game or make a food run or anything to kind of save the day. This sign also has an innate sexuality that comes through, especially when Aries risings are in their power. They really know how to ride the line between assertiveness and cockiness, and they're like right on that edge sometimes. And they also understand leadership versus ego-driven management. When they tell you what to do, it's more of with a smile and with a level of charm that you can't help but do it. It's very much not micromanager energy. And so, if this is your rising sign, to connect with this energy, I really encourage you to start with the influence of Mars. Use movement with your body, especially if you can be a leader in a team sport or like a run club, anything like that. It's really the question is where can you show up in your full Aries rising persona through moving your body, through strength, through whatever that is, because you want to let that confidence carry over into other aspects of your life. And as you build your connection, really reflect on your experience with trying to finish a project. Here's a little bit of that shadow piece. The shadow of Aries rising is that projects are left unfinished. And as they chase the next beginning of a project, which has all of that excitement and innovative energy, they've likely are doing that before completing the one they're on. So the ask is to really reflect on what projects are being left unfinished. And this is probably a pattern you have in your life, and that's absolutely okay. I would focus on finishing the ones you absolutely need to finish, finishing, picking one or two that you're like, it's worth the effort before starting something new. For Taurus rising, they are ruled by the beautiful and alluring Venus. Taurus risings have a tendency to connect with luxury and have a natural, sensual nature. Now, luxury could be an exceptional piece of bread slathered in butter. It could be gorgeous paintings found at a farmer's market. This isn't a sign obsessed with labels or the Americanized version of luxury. This energy is very much slow mornings, a beautiful cup of coffee, and really then their day transitions into work. Taurus risings are that person you call on to finish the impossible job. They don't give up or quit until their responsibility to a task is complete. In a healed state, there is a gorgeous channeling of stubbornness. And what that does is it scrubs and scrubs until the bathroom is gleaming, and you definitely get your security deposit back. There's often that talk of stubbornness being a quality that needs to be not repressed, but maybe like taken a step back. And it's like, how can we channel this level of stubbornness and the ability to get the job done into something where you absolutely need that energy? And it's your best and highest good to have that. This is also the sign of having the good olive oil with the good cheese. And they are able to magic the hell out of their kitchen, where they're like, maybe they're the ones coming to your home and able to just kind of whip something up very easily. When you're invited into their space, it's one of sanctuary and quiet and peace. And there's just a complete difference in the energy there. If you are a Taurus rising to connect with this energy, I would really recommend the next time you shop for your weekly basics, indulge in the higher end version of a product that you're longing for. Reward yourself with a job well done with a mocktail and a beautiful glass with a lemon garnish. Look out your window with a vinyl playing in the background. Really slowly go through your morning as though it's Sunday every day. For Gemini rising, this is an experience of duality and versatility. It's the embodiment of holding multiple truths and being able to discern nuances and shades of gray. This is the energy of the best friend that backs your decisions, even when you're in the wrong, as she can see the validity of your point of view. This is also the energy of a friend you want at trivia night as they share seemingly random tips of information across industries and topics. They're the ones that can handle entertainment, the stock market, and know fashion designers, and you're just kind of taken aback by how well versed they are across a variety of topics. This sign is ruled by Mercury, so communication and gesturing and hand-eye coordination are all enhanced skills of this rising sign. To connect with this energy, really show off your skills at a game night with friends. Unlike other signs where I recommend more solo activities, I think connection with others, talking with close friends and family, that's really the inroad to embodying this sign more. If you are uncomfortable with the more Gemini aspects of yourself, I really recommend spending time researching off-the-wall topics. Do a deep dive. Celebrate your ability to rapidly research, understand, and adapt to new information by exploring and delving into the most arbitrary or, kind of random topic you can think of. For Cancer rising, they are ruled by the moon, and they often work through a variety of emotions each day. There's a gorgeous vulnerability with this sign that really isn't celebrated enough. And the call here is to really celebrate that your connection to others and the world is through your emotions. Sharing your emotions through tangible actions that are in service to others. Um, this is an opportunity that can be through nurturing other people, being their safe space. That friend that shows up with ice cream and a bad action movie. That's really that energy of knowing what someone needs and offering it to them. I really recommend you connect with this energy by knowing what's up with the moon. So check on the moon like you would the weather. What sign is she in? Is she moving from one sign to another? What phase are we at? Because her influence directly affects you and how you move through the world. I also recommend using movies or music, using a medium that's really carefully choosing something that allows you to work through any emotions that are repressed or just under the surface of your skin. And I recommend you really catalog to see where you are emotionally and work to release what isn't yours. I really see the image of the crab retreating, kind of with heavy baggage from his trip out in the world. And we want to relieve him of his journey, that this baggage isn't for him to hold. And doing that through an artistic medium like music, like movies, is really helpful without you having to. Of course, you could do that through therapy as well, but without you having to do that constantly. It's having something that you can retreat in your shell at home, spend some time, maybe 30, 40 minutes, decompressing, releasing everything, and then feeling rebalanced. For Leo risings, they are ruled by the sun, and Leo risings exude warmth and vibrancy and fun. Though the sign is a natural performer, perhaps the funny person in the group, they really enjoy and desire attention, but they're really particular about when and how they receive it. When they're not in seeking the limelight or wanting attention, they're happy to share it with others and are really comfortable setting up others for a joke or a story. And there's a majestic, regal quality to this energy that can also read as high maintenance, said with love, as this is my own personal rising sign. To connect with this sign, focus on what brings you childlike joy. Reflect on silly or mundane things that make you laugh with your gut. Think about the situations where you want attention and where you are shying away from it. I discovered that during my most difficult periods in my life, I really attempted to avoid attention by hiding and playing meek instead of doing anything that might make me stand out or call attention to others. I found when my light was dim, the people around me lost their sparkle as well. And there's this underlying thought that if the spotlight is on a Leo rising, it's not on someone else. And I've learned, in fact, that the spotlight is really shared and lights up everyone in the circle in a lovely and supportive way, especially when there is a healed kind of Leo rising in the group or that you're spending time with. For Virgo risings, So, like Gemini, Virgo is also ruled by the planet Mercury. And those with a Virgo rising sign are dedicated to service. They approach every task with a level of precision and thoroughness that most people find difficult to match. They are the troubleshooters in the zodiac, and their attention to detail and knack for picking up a variety of skills really makes them an invaluable asset. When overexpressed, the sign can experience backlash for really from their need to analyze and control situations. They're the ones that have a backup plan for days, and with other more free-flowing energies, this can really cause clashes. To connect with the sign, really capture that back to school energy. Go to a stationery store, reorganize an area of your home. Really let yourself overexpress and feel complete control in one area of your own life, preferably where it doesn't impact others. Appreciate the order and tidiness you've created. And I really ask you to reflect on where you're trying to overplan or overschedule and see if you can leave space for flow and for magic. And this should be very intentional, right? You can actually schedule in 20 minutes in your day for free journaling outside, for a meditative walk, just something, right? Something to get all of the thoughts and all of the to-dos out of your head and to see where that next level of you is. And I really ask, especially if you are naturally over expressing the more analytical, more very kind of masculine tendencies of the sign, that you really see where you can bring in that receptive energy. You can really see where maybe that's an opportunity for you to further work on healing the need for control, to further work on healing the need for if you find yourself being the strongest, loudest voice in the room consistently and also planning everything, where you can back off and leave space for others to speak up or to help, right? Just because you can do acts of service and you do them exceedingly well doesn't mean you always have to. It's a beautiful opportunity to kind of allow others to help share the burden or whatever that is. I think I might have time for one more sign. So I'll cover Libra rising, our beautiful and balanced Libra rising sign, which is our most harmonious sign, and it is ruled by Venus. It is fueled by charm and the ability to see all sides. Libras have this amazing way of getting into any place they want to go. They are the friend that brings a hostess gift to a party and makes sure everyone feels included. They have a sense of style and grace that really gives old Hollywood energy. When out of alignment, Libra risings may lose their boundaries and focus on really accommodating others' needs rather than their own. When asked their opinion, it's important to kind of tactfully be honest and to not skirt around the truth. To connect with this sign, I really encourage you to connect with your values and what you find beautiful. There's a level of service to others that's very similar to Virgo risings, where instead of mediating your family, maybe for the 100th time, you really feel the call to use your voice and sense of justice to help your community and perhaps to help those without voices. Before doing this, really spend some time alone to release anything you're really holding on to, especially things you're holding on to from others, and make sure you are replenished enough to advocate and make sure you've used your own voice to speak up for yourself first, especially with those closest to you. That's always the call, is to check on yourself, make sure that you feel you really feel aligned and able to then speak out and help others. Well, we've covered quite a number of rising signs. For part two, I'll pick up right after Libra risings with the beautiful Scorpio rising sign, and we'll be able to complete all the rest of the signs in the next episode. I really hope you enjoyed learning about rising signs in media. There's been a shift when talking about astrology to rather than focus on the sun sign, focus on the rising sign. Many apps as well have really showcased how important this is. And there still can be a disconnect, even when you learn your rising sign of like, okay, I can see how that's an element of me, or sometimes I'm like this. And I really hope as we did kind of this deeper dive into each sign, it was helpful with you having really tangible ways that you can connect with this side of you more. Again, knowing this is one side of you, one version of you, one facet of a birth chart that has a whole lot more to it. So thank you so much for watching Musings and Modalities with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie. This is my last show in this time slot, so please tune in the second and fourth Thursdays of each month at 3:30 p.m. Pacific, 6:30 p.m. Eastern for more fabulous episodes. Through the end of March, all of my services are 25% off. You don't need a coupon code that's automatically applied. So a full personalized hour with me is only $75. Specifically, the solar return, which I've spoken about in previous episodes, but where if you have an upcoming birthday or even if your birthday's passed, we can really dive into the energy of this year for you, where you've spent your physical birthday or are planning to, and really how you can be set up for success, lucky transits that are coming up, really embodying all that this next year has to offer for you. If you are wanting to learn about your big three, your sun, moon, and rising, I do offer mini readings that take about 20 minutes and are currently $20. In a meeting, in a mini reading, oof, your exact birth time, date, and location are really used to determine your big three, and I'll also share the house that they're in, and we'll do an even deeper dive into how to work specifically with the gifts and shadows and their overall influence on your birth chart. In other exciting news, I am redoing my website, which I'm incredibly excited about to be even more streamlined, so that'll be launching this week. And then part two will be in the second Monday of April. And then I'll be working on the compatibility podcast, which I'm so excited about. Thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to Musings and Modalities with me, Tristen, your pragmatic shaman bestie. For more powerful healing tools, join me every second and fourth Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I cover a variety of topics to meet you wherever you are at on your spiritual journey. Learn techniques to work with pendulums, past life healing, astrology, and more. Please share the show and subscribe for more guidance from your pragmatic shaman bestie at musingsandmodalities.com.